Hey everyone, it's Dr. Simmons here again. Good to see you. So, I went out recently and I started looking at professional development. So, you have courses on all types of stuff like coaching and managing, and it's usually directed towards first line managers and middle managers, and sometimes it's really just everyday employees. How can you better yourself? But what I saw a real lack of was anything for the executives out there. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. Okay, so why is it so important that we want to talk about executives and their professional development? Executives don't necessarily make up a large part of the company, even though every organization out there has executive level staff. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that strategy requires development too. Executives do strategy level work. They're not necessarily always there getting their hands dirty in the day-to-day, although that happens. You're much more likely to see executive staff talking about the direction of a company and initiatives that need to be done so that it can be more relevant in the market. So executives do very important functions in an organization, but it will not focus necessarily on the day-to-day activities, and that's really where we kind of fall down. We stop talking about strategy and how to develop it at the executive level. We talk a lot about mid-level and first-line management strategy and how to develop that. High-level strategy needs time to develop too, and executives need time to get together with peers and talk about it a little bit more. And speaking of peers, it's so important to have executives talk to each other between organizations because they bring a lot of experience to each other. It's lonely at the top. That's an expression we've heard, but it's true. It's very lonely at the top. People are always looking to the top for what to do next instead of just doing what they need to do because they don't want to impact the strategy in a negative way. Very understandable. But it also means that the people at the top may not be hearing everything they need to hear because people below them don't want to let them down. Another reason for developing executives, doing more professional development specifically towards that group, is because engagement is not just an issue with first-line workers. Engagement is an issue with executives too, because there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of focus on you getting things right the first time. There's a lot of people looking to you to make sure that those $1 million plus decisions are correct every time and that the organization is always moving in a positive direction. It's easy for executives to disengage when you have that level of stress on you. And if you've been doing it for a while, it's like any job you've been doing for a while. You can burn out, you can get tired or stressed. It's very possible that you just don't want to be there anymore. And so finding your passion again for what you're doing is so important. So what kind of development opportunities are there for an executive? The first one I'm going to suggest is pretty simple, but it's so important. Coaching. I find it important because it's individualized. The problem with professional development in executive level status is that you've gone to the trainings already for the first line managers. You've gone through the mid-level manager training. You're at a level where you've done and seen a lot. And now it's time to have somebody just one-on-one work with you because you pretty much have gotten your foundation down. You've gotten some advanced skills down. Now it's time to talk to somebody about fine-tuning. Coaching is a place where you can have somebody who is a third party listen to you and use your words and experience to help guide the next steps for yourself. If you've never gone to a professional coach, there are lots of professional coaches out there, lots of coaching associations out there, and even somebody that does not have the title or credential from a coaching certification can still be very effective. The one thing I will say, if you find a good coach, latch onto them and spread the word around about them. Help them out because coaching is not always an easy business to have either. In that same vein, but kind of taking a slightly different tact, is group coaching. If you've never been in a peer coaching or group coaching situation, that's usually where executives will get together from many different companies, usually through a third party, and they'll have peer coaching from executive to executive. They'll usually have some sort of agreement that says you can't talk about the things inside that group outside, and you can't use that information for your business advantage. So for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing, don't worry, there are cautions and things that are in place so that people don't steal that information and use it elsewhere. And if they do, there are repercussions. The last one I'm going to suggest isn't a class so much in the sense of the executive going to a class expecting to learn more. I think it's a little bit more important for executives to give back. The one problem executives have all over the world is that they lose touch with the people in their organization. There is such a thing as being siloed off by hierarchical level. People who have been in the hierarchy, higher up in the hierarchy especially, too long, do lose touch with those people. And regaining rapport with the people at the mid-level and first line is very important to engagement of an organization. That's why I'm suggesting executives do a teach back. Again, you guys know so much about the organization you're in and other organizations that you've worked for. It's time to share the knowledge. Do a teach back. Find a subject you're interested in. Find something that you've done before. Make a case study out of it and do a brown bag teach back. Or, do something where you're teaching back. It's one way that you can re-engage with the people in your organization. Be visible. Be very outspoken for them because you are there to support them. Any good executive is not just good at the business, they're more of a servant leader. So for executives out there, I know sometimes it's tough to find professional development, and I know it's even tougher to find the time because you don't find the time, you make it, to go out to professional development activities and even internal activities within your organization, like a teach back. But please, take some of this to heart. Please go find something for yourselves. You're also the kind of people that need professional development because we all do. We all need some time back to do that. This week I'm going to be out doing Prosci Training and hopefully end up with the certification. And if I've done my work well, I'll come back and I'll have some great stories for you guys. I'll maybe have some reflections for you and talk a little bit more about certifications in general. Alright guys, until next time, I'll see ya.